This doesn't sound good. If your dryer sounds like this one, you might have a problem. Sounds like I'm drying calipers or something in this thing. Well, I know what that is. I'm going to show you how to go ahead and fix that. Fairly confident that the rollers in this dryer have finally given way. It's been about 12 years, I think, that we've had this dryer. Kenmore Elite model is right there for reference. Bought this pack right here. Part number or model number right on this package. And that's going to give me a brand new belt, 4 brand new rollers, and what appears to be a tensioner roller. And that should help resolve any of the problems that we're having on this unit. And it's a constant thump repetition, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how easy it is to replace that. The first step obviously is making sure that there's nothing in your dryer. The next step, a couple of different ways you can go about this. Pull your plug, your dryer plug, which is either located at the back of your dryer or in a location where you can reach. I think in most situations that I've come across, they're basically in an area that you can reach. Shut the power off to your dryer unit. Should be clearly labeled. Get yourself a flashlight, go over to your fuse box or circuit breaker box, and then usually things are either going to be labeled like right on each one of the outlets, or sometimes on this side of the panel you can actually have each of the breakers or what each one of the numbered breakers are. You can see on this one, well, bath, range, and we're going to look for dryer, and the dryer circuit is actually right here. So we're going to go ahead and shut that off. And you can see that's in the off position. There's the on position. This way on, this way off. And that's at least for my unit. And that's just the first step. It's just kind of, I guess, like double safety maybe. Hey little girl. Hey Hunter. Now that I know that the power is fine, you can go ahead and pull this plug out. Wouldn't recommend touching them anyway, just in case, if you know what I'm saying. Little side shelf thing here that I made. His Hunter's little jacket, this thing's pretty cool. It's also better to be able to do these things when no one's home. Just making some room. And as you can see now, I have access to be able to pull my dryer out. Disconnect dryer outlet pipe where it vents to the outside of the house. Slide this pipe right off. Hey Haley, want this? I knew you'd take that. Good girl. And these units are really light. There's a couple of ways that I'm going to want to access this dryer. So number one, I'm going to want to access it from the front here, and that's to be able to take off this panel, and this whole face section is basically going to give me access to the dryer. The back section, as you can see, and you can see by the way this is designed, it's not designed to take apart from the back side because of these little punch throughs. Oh, look at that, another bone. Hey Haley, want another bone? She likes her bones. So we'll go ahead and grab a Phillips screwdriver because that's what we're going to need to start off first. Phillips screwdriver. Hey guys. Go ahead and take these screws off here. So we got one here, and another one right here. And you can see that this is all attached together. So go ahead and take these screws out. Sometimes it's literally just about looking at how something potentially goes together. And let's see if we got that free. I'm going to slide back. So you're going to basically pull back on this unit, and you can see what it does is it reveals a little lip right here. Pull up and set this aside. Here's the drum. All the rollers are underneath. It's actually supporting the drum assembly in a sense. And this right here, this is the belt. The belt actually looks like it's in pretty good shape, but we're going to go ahead and replace that anyway. These GoPros are great. This mag mount's mint. Go ahead and open up the dryer. Look up on the top here. Oh, actually. So right here, you can see right here there's a little clip to push down. So push down on that, and it looks like we can release this front panel. We'll see how that goes. So this is me just trying to figure this out. Never taken one of these apart yet, but I just kind of want to show I guess in a sense, how easy it really is to go ahead and do this stuff, that you don't really need to be afraid. I mean, if you don't want to do it, don't do it, but you don't have to be scared. So I'm going to take this little flat blade screwdriver that I have. This I actually use for fuel jets, carburetor. It's like the perfect size. So go ahead and you just want to undo these little tabs. Boom. Boom on that side. And this panel pulls right off. Then you can see, just going to go ahead and just pull up on that panel and look for a way to disconnect the wiring. You do need to keep in mind that potentially if this does have capacitors in it, still could be powered. And you always want to just pay attention. So like this right here, this is a capacitor right here. I'll get another shot in there. That right there, that's a capacitor. And that could be energized. Granted, it's not going to be like, you know, a death blow. You just want to be mindful of any kind of electronic. You know, you just have to be careful. So we'll go ahead and find where those disconnects are. As you can see on this unit, right at the front of the control, or right at the front of the circuit board, there's a little plug right here. And you can see that the wiring is going through, going into the circuit board. And that's the first one that we're going to want to disconnect. Alright, so you can see that right in there, there's a little connector that you need to loosen. Figure out how to get that out of here. So it looks like what it is it's a press style. So you want to get a little screwdriver and kind of press on that little tab right there. I don't know if you can see that. You sort of press on that tab, and what it does is these little ears right here and here move out of the way, and then you're able to pull this plug out of here. Then it's also just tracing the other wires through, and you can see that there's a double pack right here. Same thing, this little connector here. It's a little push again, so you're going to want to push up on that little tiny connector. And this stuff is like, you know, really tiny, so getting my bare paws in there, it's not all that easy. So then you can see there's another wire here. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect that. Again, just watching out for any capacitors, just being careful. So this one right here, you can actually see from underneath that there's a little one of those little tabs right there. I'm going to push in on it. I can feel it actually push in, and then give it a pull. So you can see right on here, right there. I don't know if you can see, but you can see that the connector that's right here is the one I'm going after. And you can see there's like a little push-up tab, and then you should be able to pull that out. Anyway, alright, so let's just get my fingers in there. Yep, I can feel it. So I just pushed it in, wiggled it out, and you can see it. It's a little four-post connector right there, and it was the same thing. It's just kind of weaseling your fingers in there, and you can see basically pushing down on that cause those two little ears to release, and then you're able to pull that plug out. And then it's just a matter of just, you know, weaving these things through, and looks like this one's on a zippy tie. Be able to pull that out. It's just on one of those little spine things. There you go. Just pops right out. It's fine. And then just feed your wires in through here. Just be careful. Some of these wires are really thin. Again, you're taking things into your own hands by doing this, but the reward can be worth it. There is always a risk when you go ahead and take something apart. Take these glasses off. When you take something apart, if you kind of maybe don't have a background, but if you do, sometimes these mechanical functions of things, or whatever you want to call this, you can save yourself a couple of bucks. But then again, if you mess it up, you do run the risk of, oh, you know, calling a official repairman and getting it done. But it's actually never happened to me, and it never will. At least I hope not. Anyway, whatever. You can't, sometimes I guess you just can't be afraid. Just get it done. Try it. I mean, I don't know. We'll just get it done. Enough talking. Alright, so now we got that face panel out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at how to take apart this face section of the dryer. So go ahead and pull that in. You can see how things are connected here. So looking at this, from my perspective, because this metal, let's throw some glasses on, because Come on. This little bracket right here, you can see this little bracket is actually behind this piece right here. So this bracket is actually attached to this face frame, which it doesn't look like this face frame needs to come out, because then that might compromise the box, but we'll see later. But I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 screws out here, and then on this side, these 2 screws out over here. We're just going to go ahead and use a regular screwdriver. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, or something of that kind of effect. Let's just pull this out, and let's see what happens here. Okay. Take the door off. 2 screws, one here, one here, one here, and one here. So we're going to go ahead and just take that off. And that's just basically going to take off some weight. Hey, Haley. And another key, too, is remembering how you take these things apart. And believe it or not, if you're videoing this while you're doing it, or if you're taking pictures with your phone, that works out perfect, because then you can basically play, in a sense, where screws came from and where wires and connectors connect to. If some of the connectors are the same. Fortunately on this, everything is very easy. Go ahead and place that door out of the way. You want to be careful, because you want to put the door in a place where it's not going to tip over. I have dogs, as you can see. These guys are just hanging out with me right now. But so now that the door's off, you definitely have more access to what's going on here. And then looking inside here, but I'm looking here, I'm looking like these 2 screws right here on the bottom, looks like it goes into the lint catcher. We'll go ahead and take those screws out. This is kind of a good way of seeing how long this process is going to take. Yeah, look at that. So just taking those screws out, you can see it actually released this face frame away from that area. There still seems to be a little bit of tension on this side. So actually, the door sensor is not here behind this. I thought this was the door sensor, so we actually don't have to take that out, because the door sensor is actually here, not there. So we'll just go ahead and reinstall these screws. So we're good there. So that door sensor is actually right here. And if we look on the back side, right here, you can see that there's that little sensor. And to go ahead and unplug that, let's get a light. That looks like that. So that's just a pull-on plug. So you can just go ahead and just pull that right off. So there aren't actually any screws at the bottom like I was thinking. So right here, I'm pretty confident that that's actually one of the rollers. And in fact, it is. So actually it doesn't feel like it's that bad. So we'll check and see how many other rollers that we got here. And then potentially see what else we may have to take apart to go ahead and get in. Hey, look at that, money. It's just a penny. So it doesn't look too bad. Looks like we could do just a little bit of cleaning in here. But other than that, looks like this will be pretty easy. There's a little connector right there. Pretty sure that this connector is for the moisture sensor. And that moisture sensor is right in here. It's right here. So that's where that moisture sensor is. So I'll go ahead and just get this camera in here. So the moisture sensor for the dryer is actually right here. And the clothes basically just rub up against this, and the 2 little sensors kind of, I guess, detect when the moisture is gone. There's the light. So that light connector, we'll go ahead and just disconnect that. And that's really easy again. Just like one of those little pull connectors. Go ahead and pull that off. Now we know that's disconnected. Kind of just throw that in there. And just by looking, I know I want to get this section of the unit off. So I think I will go ahead and pull this actual piece right here. I'll go ahead and pull this off. So I know we've got one screw here. You can take off. Another screw right here. Gotta give that a crank. And always be careful with all this metal, all these little edges, because this is all stamped steel. So some of these edges can be pretty sharp. Another screw right here, another screw right there, which looks like it's part of this bracket, and another screw right there. So we'll go ahead and take those off. And if you lay your screws out, kind of, I guess, on an area, you can pretty much put all the screws together that you're taking apart kind of in groups, and that will help a lot of times with reassembly. The other way you could do it is you could just get a bunch of your household bowls and put everything together. You can see all those screws are all the same. All those right there, those two screws are the same, these are the same, these are the door screws, that's the same, that's the same. You can see how I do things. Back side, that's to the back side of the machine. So I can see that. Okay, so this little wire connector right here, this needs to come off. So we'll go ahead and give that a little push through. Right there. There, push that through, get that out of the way. So there's that piece, and it's got like this little, kind of, I guess, a little keyway thing where it goes into the piece of metal and then slides down over it, and that's what locks it in right there. So we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. And then it's just, again, just analyzing what pieces need to potentially come off. So this piece right here, might as well go ahead and get that out of the way. And that is 2 Phillips on the back side. Get in there, see, right here. 2 Phillips on that back side. 1, 2. We'll get this out of the way. And these screws, again, I'll take and put together so that I know which way they go, or where they go. Put those right there. Remove this. And again, you can kind of just see how things go. And the great part about recording something like this, if you're just doing it yourself or taking pictures, you'll know how this thing came all apart when you just go backwards in your film. That's what's cool about everything that people are able to do nowadays. So let's go ahead and get this screw right here gone, get that screw gone, get that screw out, that one down there, and that one there. And we'll see what happens here. So one, another one over here, 2, and looks like that might be it. 1, 2. Let's give this a pull down. Take this lens screen out and see what's going on in here. So you don't want to force anything. So let's see what's going on here. So it looks like we may be taking this little unit out. See how that goes. Because something is preventing this from coming down. Let's go ahead and just take that apart. So there's a screw there, and there's a screw there. It can be accessed from the inside. So we'll go ahead and put the camera in there and check that out. Get some light. Not sure how that's looking. It's probably fine. So there's a screw here and a screw over here. One. 2. I can see one of them is for the sensor. So we'll go ahead and get that out of there. Yeah, all this stuff takes time. But I mean, gives you experience in taking things apart. I think I used to drive my mother nuts, because just about every toy I would ever get would end up being pulled apart. Hey, look at that. That pulled out nice and easy. And you can see, you know, like the typicalness of just, you know, areas of lint that kind of get caught. So like, here's a big spot right here. So, right there. Let's get some light on that. Reach in. I mean, look at that. That's crazy. But that's a spot where literally you just can't get to. And you can see that the lint has just kind of collected there. So it's a good thing we're pulling this apart. It's kind of a dual purpose. So let's see, is this little thing gonna pop out yet? Oh, look at that. Thing of beauty. Alright, set that aside. Getting this face piece off. All we've got is these 4 screws. One here, here at the top, here at the bottom, here at the bottom. It's kind of midway on the machine. Let's go ahead and get a screwdriver and get these out of here. Like I said, you might have to just kind of lean into it a little bit. Really watch your hands on this metal, because like I was saying, it can be fairly sharp. So I'm going to use the lint tray for all my screws. That way I know what's what. Go on this side, get this one. Just be careful and kind of hold on to the unit, just in case it wants to fall. But it does have these little tabs right here, so it kind of looks like maybe it won't. It's just kind of just looking over the entire thing. Right now, I can see that I have to pull this sensor out of here. Looks like it might be easier if I just go ahead and just disconnect this connector. So it's this connector right here. Right here. It's just one of those push styles. Push it down. Give it a little pull. Disconnect it. Perfect. And now when I take this face off, this will all come as one unit. So let's go see. Lift up. So something is hanging up. Oh, there we go. Got that. And we got that. And look at that. Here comes the face of the unit. 2 rollers attached. Pretty cool. Nice. It's not that hard. Something I might try and do. I know LEDs are very susceptible to heat, and this dryer obviously will have an intense amount of heat in it. It'd be kind of cool to see if I can replace the light that's in here, maybe with an LED. See if there's anything available, because that would be kind of cool. Instead of having the yellow incandescent light, have a nice bright LED in there. We'll get this all vacuumed out, and there's my payment right there. Is that my payment? Penny? Now, it's just figuring out getting this belt off. I know this drum will just kind of lift out like that. Move this belt away as we pull the drum out. Bring that belt out as it goes. Bring the drum out. Cool. It's just about all the way released. Get the drum out of here. And this is the roller that's definitely wiped out. So, this little guy right here. Oh yeah. I think we've got a little bit of an issue on that roller, so we'll go ahead and pull that off. But you can see there's all the roller bearing dust in there. This is the roller that's destroyed. This one right here. Because I've got the new wheels, I'm gonna go ahead and just replace all of these anyway. Only makes sense. You already got them, replace them. Got a brand new belt. There's the back side of that sensor. And what that does is it reads, I guess, the continuity between the clothes rubbing up against this, and that's what determines when it's on auto dry or sense dry. senses the clothes kind of rubbing up against this sensor right here. What needs to be cleaned out inside the dryer, inside this right here. So now I'll just go ahead and see what we got in these packages right here. So this was a package that I got from Amazon, designed for these dryers. So we've got a new tensioner pulley, got a brand new roller, and it looks like they're all the same. So two belt, brand new belt, that's cool. And two more pulleys right there, another pulley. See the manufacturer or whatever model number right there. And that's it. It's literally all you need to do this. So I'll go ahead and get these installed. So we're going to go ahead and get this roller replaced. It actually is in good shape, but why not go ahead and get these replaced anyway? What you're going to need, at least for this unit, is a 14mm wrench. That's for the back side or front side, however you want to look at it. 10mm. And the 10mm, what that's going to do is that's going to hold on to this piece right here and put it on the back side or front side, whatever it is. And you can see how that's going there. And you're just going to give it a crank, break it free. And then I'm going to use this wrench just to hold it, and use this one just to spin it off. And you'll get to a point where you can just unscrew it. And I'm going to leave the wrench and its bolt right in place. There's a washer right there we're going to use. The new unit that we've got right here. And I'm going to put the washer on that. So it's actually got a plastic sleeve covering it or something. And we got to get off. Get that stuff off. See that stuff right there? It's like some kind of like tape or something. So you can see it's that like fibrous tape stuff. Go ahead and get a screwdriver on there and just pull that stuff right off. So along with the bolt that it has, there's two washers, one on the inside and one on the outside. I'll show you those. So we've got two washers. So one's going to go on this side, like that. And the other one's going to go on the back side, right here. So put that together. Line that up. Throw the roller in there. Give it a spin. And just crank it on. Boom. It's just tight. Just tight enough. You don't need to crank it. No Arnold Schwarzenegger type stuff. I'm going to switch over to this one. It's the same thing. 14 on the back side, 10 on the front. Just break it free. Spin it off. New roller out of its package. Take this little roller out of here. I can see it's got that protective tape on there. Give it a spin by hand. Grab the 10, crank it on. Done. It just takes time. It's easy. You can get it done. You don't have to pay a repairman $200 to get this done. You can save yourself the $200 and do it yourself. And like I was saying, if you can take pictures or record things as you're going, for you yourself, if you've never done it before, and granted, have you ever worked on a dryer or anything like that before? Yeah, but I've never taken this dryer apart before. But it's just common sense sometimes on how things go together. Just take your time and look at stuff. don't try to smash and rip and pull things apart. Just go easy. A lot of times, if something's not coming apart, there's got to be a reason why, and you just have to investigate a little bit further, and sometimes you need a brighter flashlight or whatever. This is coming apart pretty easy. So we're going to go ahead and get this back panel off right here. We'll spin the unit around. But you can see the access screw there. You can kind of like look on this back side and realize what's what. So we've got another one there, just, you know, a bunch of screws and stuff holding stuff on. Get this one off first. Keep all these together. Look inside of here and you can see which one you need to get, which is that one right there. So this one. And this one I'm going to leave in just a little bit. Still got some threads on there. And that's going to hold this panel in place. There's one way down here. Go ahead and get that one. Looks like probably that one right there is one. The screws over there. I'm gonna face out another one right there. You can hear that little snap. It's just a screw that's never been taken out before. Right up here. And then that should be it. I'm going to kind of just give this a little bit of a wiggle. See if I've got all the screws. Feels like I believe I do. Almost looks like the heater unit is going to want to come with it. So I'll have to investigate that. What's going on down here? So looks like all those screws are undone. Yep. That's all undone. That's all undone. So it looks like this right here is going to need to be disconnected from it somehow. And I can see that that's kind of like as a unit. So what I need to do is decide how I'm going to go ahead and disconnect that, whether I'm going to disconnect some kind of type of a plug or whatever. So what I may do is, obviously because this is being recorded, this works out really well. So this is when you can go ahead and do this. So we'll back out of here. I know both cameras are still recording. Go into camera. And then that's when you can take pictures. Right now I went ahead and just switched over to the Note because I've got to download some of the footage. So what's kind of cool about this is when you have, like I was trying to show on the GoPro, when you have your cell phone camera, it's kind of cool because you can go ahead and take pictures. So like something like this, I'm taking a picture of this connection here. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of that connection there and that connection right there. And what that will do is when I disconnect all these wires, it just helps with the reassembly. And that's kind of what I was saying. So many things can be done by, you know, a regular guy, regular homeowner, whatever. And when I say a regular guy, I don't mean politically incorrect, just guys. I mean guys and girls. And if I think you look it up in the dictionary, I was talking it over with my daughter, that guy is a general statement. So there is no political correct issues with whatever I'm doing. So on this section, pretty sure all I'm going to have to do is just take out these two screws here, and that should be able to release this whole unit. So let's get that. That's it. Let's put that out. So it looks like this unit is held in place by a little clip right here at the top back, right there. So what you have to do is just take a screwdriver and pry up on that, like so. And that should separate. This whole piece comes out as one unit. You know, a little bit of dust right here. Just go ahead and clean all that up. Might as well. It's already out. Inside of here, just a little bit of cleaning. Very minor dust, but might as well do the whole pocket. These two rollers, this is what's on that back side of the unit, and this is where the heating element goes into, or at least feeds the hot air in through the system, follows up here, and then kind of comes out of these holes right there. And this is the heating element right here. So using the same tools, and again, the save it guy in me is going to go ahead and save these wheels, at least this one. So I'll end up with 3 good wheels to be able to use for some other project, because they're actually still pretty good condition. Open up the new one. Basically, it's the same process as before. Done. I'll just go over to the next one. This is the one that's blown out. So that's where all the noise. That's where all the noise was coming from. You actually hear it. It's a very similar sound to what you're hearing. There's that part number right there, in case you need it. I'll link the package in the description anyway. Description down on the bottom at the end of the video. And put your washer on. That's it. Rollers are replaced. I mean, that feels great, actually. So yeah, we're not gonna go ahead and replace this thing here. So let's move on. We've got to get this piece back in, because now we are ready. So, and this is just the back panel. Little groove right there that this kind of sits in. And there's one on the other side as well. Where is it? Right there. And then that tab right there is what's going to hold this whole panel in place. Just move it over so that these screws right here are in alignment, and I can see that. And I'll go ahead and take my carburetor jet tool, just pry that down and in, and that basically just holds that in place. Connect back up the heater element. That just basically slides into that little slot right there. Goes up and then down. And then there's like another one of those little groove pieces of metal right here. Go ahead and take these screws. Let's get these screws back in. Boom. Screw those back ones. Go ahead and spin this around. These screws that I left on the ground here, these ones right here, that one on the side over here. Help if I had my magnetic tip screwdriver, but it's really not necessary. That one is in. You can see where the screw scraped up against that piece of metal when it was being tightened. Left a little residual mark. Another one right there. And then one more right down there. Isn't that funny? So see this baggie right here? This dryer's never been opened before, and that baggie is usually supposed to have, I believe, the schematics for the entire dryer. So that's kind of weird that this unit does not have this. This back wall, it's all installed now. The heating unit or the element, that's all set. We can go ahead and get the drum in. Get the new belt. And I already checked the length of this belt. You know, obviously want to make sure that it's ribs in. It's not like twisted anywhere. But what I did is I took the old belt and just like the old way, line it up like that. The old belt is actually very slightly longer, but that's due to wear and stretch. I'm going to take the new belt, go around the drum like this. You just want to make sure that it's rib side down when you're feeding it in here. You don't want to make the mistake. Let's see if I can get this GoPro in there. Can I get this in there? Alright, so that works. So I'll actually be able to see the belt. That right there. And you can see it's got rib side down. And I'll give it a rotate so you can see what's going on. Literally, that's how it goes right there. Alright, so it's basically just a reverse operation of what we had already done. This other piece on, this section right here, and we know that's going this way. That basically goes like this. Get it onto its little spot. Right there. Right there. Pick this up. Get that in there. Get that in there. Let's give it a rotate. Oh, that's beautiful. Listen to that. Nice. Connect up. The little connector that's right here, because we know that was part of it. So now that's all connected. So we wanted to make sure that we were getting this connector, which is the sense wire. We'll go ahead and get these 4 screws installed. If you get lost, you can just refer back to your photos or your video maybe that you took, or refer to this one. Remember the way things went back together. Let's go ahead and install this. So when we know we're here, go ahead and install these screws in the back side of this. So now we'll just go ahead and get this face piece back on. And as you saw, basically hooks into those bottom little clips right there. So you got a clip down there, and you got a clip down there. So we're going to feed this wire in through here. It was attached right there. And it goes into this little clip thing here. So that's attached. Make sure the wire's not pinched. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the control panel. And then, so you can feed these wires through the hole right here. And then it has like these little alignment tabs. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead install this control panel. Those alignment tabs right there. And then basically it just slides forward and clicks right in. Now it's basically just hooking these wires up where they came from. So the reverse operation, we already know that this red one went over here. I can't mess it up in a sense because of the way these plugs are kind of keyed. But, you know, we know that the tab was hard to grab. Click that in, this little guy right here. And you can see, you want to make sure you put that down, facing down. That snaps in. And then the blue one over here. And that little tab is on that side, facing the back side of the unit. That snaps in. Take that little clip thing, put that in there. Might as well check the operation while we're here. And this is just to make sure that it's working. Plug that in. And then go ahead and switch that dryer breaker back on right there. Dies. Hit the power button. Obviously, right now with the door open, you're going to have to depress the switch right here. And that's what's going to let the dryer operate. So let's check it out. Hit the switch. Look at that. Thing of beauty. Nice. Sounds a heck of a lot better. Put this cover back on. Slide it forward. Put those 3 mounting screws. One, two, three. That's it. Haley right there. Hey Haley, it's you. I know. Screw number one. We'll just get this one started. If we get a top one started, then we can pretty much let go. See? Now the door can hang. Go ahead and get a bottom screw in. Just put the unit tight. And that's it. What you may want to go ahead and check is checking your outlet tube. You might as well go ahead and clean it. GoPro's charging, 98%. Take the unit, slide it back into place. Make sure it still works. Ta-da! Look at it, nice and quiet, works awesome. You can do it, guy. You can.
Oh, no noises? I get to turn it on the first time?
Yeah.
Is there anything in it?
Oh!
Woohoo! Oh, don't worry, keep running it. It'll get better.
Well, originally it was just a little flat spot. Doing the dun 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 dun.
Oh my goodness.
This little trail. And you're gonna get your wrench. Crank. Yeah. So there's my reward. Well, how do I do that? Happy wife, happy life, right?
You want me to kiss you?
So there's my reward. Happy life, happy wife.
I think it's wife and then life, honey bun. Happy
So
wife.
there's my reward. How do I do that? So there's my reward. Happy life,
happy wife.
I did say it wrong.
Yeah.
So now I gotta re-record it. So there's my reward. Happy wife. Happy wife. Happy life. Happy life.